Passage number 150. Madam Speaker, none of us disagrees obviously that black money is a serious problem. My party has made it very clear that we would support any serious effort by the government to bring back black money to this country. But this bill has four fatal flaws. I would like to briefly touch upon each of these because the government should be conscious that we are not supporting them blindly. We understand that there are some real limitations we would have liked seen improved. The first is that this bill rests on the premise that foreign assets and foreign accounts are the principal problem in black money. They are not. We actually have no real idea of the scale of the problem. The Ministry of Finance says that there is no official estimate. They are right. We have all heard a number of figures advanced during this debate. The most objective source, the US based Global Financial Integrity, came up with a report saying that in the entire period from 1948 to 2008, there was $213 billion lost, which is about rupees 20 lakh crore. The honorable member from Andhra Pradesh mentioned a more recent report of rupees 28 lakh crore. But you are still ending up not with rupees 15 lakh per Indian but under rupees 25,000 per India. So first of all, the scale of the problem is much smaller than the people assume. More importantly, the domestic black money is a much bigger figure and is a much larger problem. Yet, domestic tax evasion remains a civilian offense, whereas this bill criminalizes foreign assets. Let us face it, this bill is a pure political diversion by the party in power to distract the people from government's failure to actually tackle black money generation in this country within India. In fact, even black money generated abroad, as has been pointed out by many speakers, is brought back to India as FDI and the so called around tripping, especially through investment haven like Mauritius. During the last financial year, $4.9 billion came in that way from Mauritius. So, if this bill is indeed as ambitious as the minister says, the ambition seems to as the minister says, the ambition seems to consist of scratching the tip of the iceberg while the rear part of the iceberg remains in this country. The second fatal flaw is that there is no mechanism to actually retrieve information on the defaulters. We are talking about the fact that we need to get agreements with governments to do this. Are there any new governments for it? There are governments which have concluded. Are there any new governments that have come on board to give us information? How many governments are willing to cooperate? We know that foreign countries are just not waiting to hand over information to us about Indians holding black money in their countries. The fact is that their domestic laws will come in and international treaties will come in. Madam Speaker, for example, if you want information on Swiss bank deposits, the Swiss government will not reveal them and cannot reveal them under their own laws until we provide the names of individuals we are investigating, the names of the banks where they have their money and evidence of criminality in the acquisition of this money. The Swiss government has said that they will not support any fishing expedition by the Indian government looking for Indian name in banks. You have announced these harsh punitive measures in today's bill, but how will punitive measures alone promote compliance when you do not have any way of knowing, of getting information about inculpate people? The fact is, our good finance minister once upon a time used to enjoy good South Indian food. He has given us a Medu Vada bill, a bill with a big hole in the middle of it. Like the Medu Vada, we are seeing the lack of means of obtaining information about those whom we want to actually prosecute. There is a big hole in the middle of the bill. You can announce jail, you can announce fine, but you cannot fine or jail unknown people. Do you have the names of people or do you have the means of getting them? The third flaw is this bill gives unbridled powers to the tax authorities, assessing officers, enforcement directorate, Central Board of Direct Taxes, and others, overlooking the great failures of tax administration in our country. The bill is essentially recreating the Inspector Raj of the pre liberalization days. The fact is, this is a government that has disempowered most of its ministers, that has bypassed those bureaucrats except the ones who are in the PMO. The people who are getting new powers now in this government are the taxmen. The fact is that they have been given judicial powers, powers to scrutinize files for 16 years, given the right to levy penalties, powers to make people criminally liable, etc. Essentially, we are going to end up with more NRIs. But unlike the ones which my colleague Shri Huda mentioned, these ones will not come back to this kind of tax tyranny. Thank you.